Black Janitor hid for 8 years that she was a fighter pilot, until they forced her into the cockpit. The corridors of Westlake Aviation Academy always smelled faintly of bleach. Every night, when the hangar lights dimmed and the echoes of cadets faded, a lone figure stayed behind. Gloria Hayes, the black janitor in her worn gray uniform, mopped the spotless floors and scrubbed the fingerprints off the glass doors. Most of the cadets barely noticed her. Some mocked her. A few pitied her. None of them knew who she really was. 8 years she had hidden her secret. 8 years of silence, carrying a truth so heavy it bent her shoulders. She had once been Lieutenant Gloria Hayes, one of the most skilled fighter pilots in the Air Force. But after a scandal that wasn't her fault, after whispers of insubordination and a betrayal from within her own squadron, she walked away. Or maybe, she was pushed. She never told. Now she was the woman with the mop. Invisible. Disposable. A shadow among the stars. The cadets laughed at her sometimes. "Hey, mop lady, careful with that bucket, you'll flood the runway," one sneered. Another tossed his empty soda can on the floor just to watch her pick it up. Gloria never replied. She had learned long ago that silence was a shield. But one cadet noticed something different. A girl named Rebecca. Young, fiery, always finishing last in the flight simulators. One night, when she lingered in the hangar after hours, she saw Gloria staring at the planes with something like longing. Rebecca tilted her head. "You like jets?" Gloria just smiled faintly. "They're beautiful." And she went back to scrubbing the floor. But fate doesn't stay buried forever. It began on a sweltering July afternoon. The academy was hosting a high-stakes training exercise with visiting generals and wealthy donors. Everything had to be perfect. But as the drills began, one of the aircraft malfunctioned. A critical system error sent a jet spinning out of control. The young cadet inside screamed through the radio as the plane spiraled. Panic erupted in the control room. The instructor shouted, fingers flying across keyboards, trying to override the system. Nothing worked. Then, Gloria appeared at the doorway, holding her mop. Her voice cut through the chaos. "Come. Precise. Kill the throttle. Feather the rudder. Counter-roll at 60 degrees, not 70. Now." Heads snapped toward her. Who was she to speak? The commander snarled, "Get her out of here." But the cadet, desperate, followed her instructions. And the jet steadied. Silence swept the room. The young pilot's voice crackled through the radio, breathless. I'm safe. I don't know how, but I'm safe." Everyone turned to look at Gloria. She froze, mop in hand, wishing she could disappear. But the secret was out. Whispers spread like wildfire. How did she know that? Who is she really? The commander cornered her that evening. "You've got one chance to explain, Hayes." Gloria lowered her eyes. Her voice was quiet, almost a confession. 8 years ago, I flew for the Air Force. I was a fighter pilot. I learned things your simulators don't teach. The room went cold. A janitor, a pilot. They didn't believe it. Not until they checked the records. Not until the name Lieutenant Gloria Hayes surfaced, decorated with medals, and stamped with dishonor. The next morning, everything changed. Cadets who once mocked her now stared with wide eyes. Some with awe, others with resentment. And the commander, after a tense meeting with the board, gave her an ultimatum: "We've got an emergency exercise tomorrow. One of our pilots dropped out. You'll fill the spot." Gloria's heart stopped. She hadn't flown in 8 years. Her hands trembled at the thought of climbing back into a cockpit. But they wouldn't take no for an answer. That night, Rebecca found her sitting alone in the hangar, staring at the jets. "You're scared," Rebecca whispered. Gloria gave a broken laugh. "I'm not scared of flying. I'm scared of remembering who I used to be." Rebecca touched her hand. "Then remember for me. For all of us. You saved me once in that simulator. Maybe you're supposed to save more." The next day dawned with a crimson sky. The generals assembled, the cadets lined up, and the jets roared to life. Gloria climbed into the cockpit, her uniform replaced by a borrowed flight suit. Her heart pounded as the canopy closed, sealing her into a world she had tried to forget. At first, the old instincts returned like ghosts. Throttle, rudder, pitch, her body remembered what her mind doubted. The jet responded to her touch as if it had been waiting 8 years for her return. But the exercise took a turn. An unexpected storm rolled in, winds tearing across the runway. Midair, one cadet lost control and spun dangerously close to Gloria's jet. Voices screamed over the radio. Collision course. Pull up. Pull up. Gloria's voice was steel. Stay calm. On my mark, roll right, throttle down, level steady, the cadet obeyed. Disaster was avoided by inches. The general stood frozen in the control room. This wasn't a janitor. This was a leader. When the jets landed, the crowd erupted. Cadets rushed to surround Gloria, shouting, cheering. Even the commander's stern mask cracked, just for a second. But the story didn't end there. That night, Gloria sat alone again, peeling off the flight suit. Rebecca approached quietly. They're all talking about you. Some want you reinstated. Some want you gone. But me. I just want to learn from you. Gloria's eyes softened. For years she had carried the weight of shame. But in Rebecca's eyes, she saw something she hadn't seen in years, belief. The following week, the Academy announced a new program, mentorship for struggling cadets. And at the heart of it, not a commander, not a general, but a woman with calloused hands and a mop bucket. Gloria Hayes. The janitor who had been a fighter pilot. The woman who had been invisible, until they forced her into the cockpit and remembered what greatness looks like. And as she stood before the cadets, her voice rang steady, don't let anyone tell you what you are. Don't let anyone bury your truth. Because one day, it will fly again. The hangar roared with applause. And this time, Gloria didn't look away. Because her secret wasn't a burden anymore. It was her wings.